Good evening. I'd like to call this meeting for the city of San Juan at 6 p.m. May we rise for invocation. Mr. Arjona, can you lead us, sir?
Father, thank you for the opportunity to gather this day. Everything we do begin with your inspiration and continue with your help. We ask for your guidance throughout this meeting, help our thoughts and actions reflect your holy will, and that you will grant us the grace to make the best decision for our city. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Flag for pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. May be seated. Ms. Diana, public comments? No. Okay. Go ahead, sir.
Mayor, Commissioners, good evening, staff, community. The first item on the agenda, we have presentations. Tonight we have the Department of Finance, Department of Utilities, Police Department, Fire Department, Municipal Court. Every director is here. Should you have any questions for them?
Any-
If I may,
Go ahead, sir.
I just have two shout outs for Chief Gonzalez. Your guys did an outstanding job for Cruisers Night on Thursday. We got a lot of compliments, so tell the guys to keep it up. And then for Chief Tirso Garza, your guys also went out to SPI to help out with that big fire over there. Hats off to them. So you all did a great job. Let them know that we appreciate everything they do for us.
Go ahead, sir.
Chief, likewise, want to relay that message as well to the staff. I mean, I know cruise night was a hassle, and it has been, and going forward, back and forth, how to control it, but it was mitigated very well that day. So just wanted to make sure that the staff knew as well. Chief, as well, and as far as the response also for everything, you know, the South Padre Island incident and anything, our fire department seems to be very, very responsive, and I know that even such little things where the community or the district needing the fire trucks or what have you, so we got very good compliments on that on behalf of the city of San Juan, so thank you guys for that. Yes, thank you, sir.
Manuel Garza. I got a phone call from one of the neighbors. The weather went a little bit faster this time. On, what is it, citrus? Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't that. Went a little bit faster. We had talked about the trash on I think it's the apartments. Usually when it floods, it's when it overflows, and I mean, I know all that stuff goes into the drains, and maybe that's the reason it plugs up everything. Maybe we'll find a way how to maybe get them another trash can or something so they don't overflow, or how can we work with those people?
Sure, we'll make contact with the property owner and try to see if we can add another day or 2 days of extra pickup for them.
Okay, thanks.
Moving forward, one more, Mayor, real quick. Mr. Garza, on what was it? The call? We got a call for it's on the street. I guess it's caving in. I guess right here in Lincoln, and causing a big problem with the puddling. Now that the rain's coming down, Lincoln and what was it, 11th? Right there where
10th. I think it's 10th.
And I haven't not showed it to you, but I just got reminded of it right now again. Maybe we need to take a look at that. I think it already kind of started softening up. There's a real big, pretty big chunk of a hole where the mosquitoes are starting to hang out now, stuff like that. So I'll get all that information for you. But that one, the citizen called today, so maybe we could take a look at that too. Okay. Thank you.
You the guys did fumigate the city? Fumigate?
Yep.
Okay.
We'll
Yeah.
start doing the
They've been calling on mosquitoes, especially my wife. She said they're not their friends, but as soon as it dries, let me know and do what you all can do best.
Chief Gonzalez, real quick, just curious about how many, since you guys been working on Thursday nights on that cruise deal, how many citations have you guys issued on that?
Real quick, Mayor, good evening, Mayor Cruz. Yes, I wanted to just share some stats. On May 8th, we started with 20 citations, and then on the next Thursday, we did 76 citations, 76 stops, 66 citations, 2 arrests, and we impounded 8 vehicles. And this past Thursday, we had 52 traffic stops, we had 44 citations and 4 impoundments. So, yes, and we seen a lot less traffic there, but we're going to continue with the efforts. And I think it's important that we continue on that area. And it was, we needed the manpower to go out there, and so all of the San Juan guys that we had like 16 units out there, so we conducted a lot of
What
enforcement.
other agencies assisted you?
Only the first day, only on the first of the month, which was on the 8th,
Okay,
and then the other 2, the last one we handled by ourselves.
okay. And so the first time on the 8th, who helped?
It was the Texas Department of Public Safety and also Constable, our precinct, and also the precinct from Constable Guy.
So then the next 2 weeks, you're all
Yes, sir.
handled the matter.
That's
over.
correct.
Okay, if you can also just let them know, the other officers, DPS, and those that assisted you on May 8th,
Yes,
to give them thanks as
Yes, sir.
well, in behalf of the commission too.
Sure.
We're doing a tremendous job.
Appreciate it, Mayor.
You know, I've noticed that, yeah, it's been decreasing a lot. We've gotten calls. Pretty sure everyone here's gotten calls in that area
Yes.
where, you know, we just gotta keep it up, Chief.
Sure,
because
sure,
we
Mayor.
kinda, you know, we don't wanna make the city of San Juan or, you know, a place to, I mean, we invite people to come
Yes.
over and, you know, spend money and enjoy themselves, but at the same time, we're out here looking out for our neighbors as well.
Yes, and it was pretty chaotic out there. And I've been out there with those 3 nights and the last 2 nights as well, the last Thursday, and it was pretty chaotic. It was out of control, meaning that a lot of disrespect for law enforcement, and we put a stop to it. And also I've been talking to the city attorney, and we amending the loitering ordinance already. So we're working on that. So hopefully by next agenda item, we're gonna have it in place.
Okay, yeah, just make sure you get it to legal as soon as possible.
It's already there.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's
they're already amending it right now for us.
Great,
Yeah.
okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Chair. Yes.
Give you a heads up. Got several complaints. I got one today. Young kids on four-wheelers, they're on streets. Just tell you guys, keep an eye, make sure, keep them out the street. You know, that lady today almost ran over one of the kids on Eldora, and I guess it's right in front of, Reading Mock, somewhere around there.
Yes, Commissioner,
Yeah.
we do have, we had a lot of calls on East 495 and the south side also. There's a lot of ATVs roaming around, and we have it, specifically those officers assigned to the area, we're enforcing it. We made an arrest and impounded 1 ATV this week, and it was a pursuit, you know, meaning that fled from the officer, the ATV, so, and we seen the news, I mean, it's already a couple of days, last week there was another one just north of here.
Yeah.
So, yes, we're enforcing that as well.
Keep going. All
Yes, sir.
right, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Mhm.
Any other questions for the directors? If not, we'll go ahead and move on. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, on the public hearings, we have hold a public hearing for a conditional use permit for a drive-through business and sale of alcoholic beverages for on-premise consumption at Crazy About Mangonadas, located at 510 East 495, legally described as the north 230 feet of the east 64 feet of Lot 9, Block 39, Alamo Lane and Sugar Company subdivision, and requested by Gutierrez Investment LLC. Mr. Escobar.
Mayor, Commissioner, it's a condition use permit. It's for alcoholic beverages on premise at Crazy About Mangonadas. This is located in SH 495 and Hooper Avenue. So it's south of Garza Elementary, just so you guys can know which one it's at. They're applying for beer and wine. They currently have this existing business, so they're just gonna add to sell micheladas and beer and wine allowed drinks. So it's not gonna be for liquor, just beer and wine. So this is a public hearing, and this gives the opportunity for any of the public to say a few comments.
All right, with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and open this up at 6:09 PM. 6:09 PM. Is there anyone here for or against? For or against? You can come to the podium, sir. State your name for the record. So
My
no-
name is Margarito Esquivel.
Okay.
I own Yadira's drive-through. It's like 50, 60 feet from this location. And like 5 years ago, I made the same petition, to sell alcohol, and it got denied. It got denied it because of the school across the street. And I don't think it's right. We've been there for like 15 years in our business, and we never had any problems. And when I made this request, it got denied it because of the school. And now this guy is trying to sell alcohol, and it's just like 70 feet from us, And I don't think it's right, because it's that if he gets the permit to sell alcohol on his property or his business, that's gonna be like, it's gonna kill my business, because and I don't think it's right.
La cosa es que hace 4 o 5 años para atrás nosotros hicimos la misma petición para consumir alcohol allí. A nosotros nos negaron por el motivo de que hay escuelas allí. Nosotros ya vendemos alcohol, pero es nomás para llevar. Y a nosotros nos lo negaron que por la escuela. Ahora yo miro otro problema. Ellos están enseguida de un daycare. So, si se los dan a ellos, entonces nosotros también vamos a aplicar
Sí.
para que nos lo den a
Sí,
nosotros.
si ellos se los dan, yo también quiero el mío, porque yo no voy a dejar que ellos, nosotros vendíamos mangonadas y vendíamos raspas ahí también, y las quitamos para darles chance a ellos de que vendieran sus productos. Y ahora ellos están haciendo una petición para vender alcohol. Ya vendiendo alcohol, ellos pueden vender beer and wine, pueden vender alcohol también, o sea, lo que es. Y para nosotros, yo no creo que sea fair para nosotros, que tenemos ahí 15 años, desde el 2005, y que ellos lo tengan y nosotros no lo hemos podido tener. Y si en el caso de que ellos lo agarren, yo también quiero el mío, porque yo les digo que les voy a meter competencia, a mí no me conviene quedarme abajo.
Yeah. Con San Juanita, cuando estaba San Juanita.
Yeah.
Y nos lo
Y
negaron,
nos lo negaron por la escuela que está
por las
enfrente.
escuelas.
Y él está nada más como 60 pies de nosotros.
Y está a menos de 100 pesos
Y
de un daycare. Ahora está peor, porque ahora enseguida de ellos está un daycare.
Y across the street está la escuela. So,
Es la misma
por eso
distancia.
nosotros estamos aquí, porque no estamos de acuerdo en eso, ¿verdad? Gracias.
Mr. Escobar, is there any?
There's a
how
difference.
far distance they're supposed to be from the
It's
school?
the zoning in the city, it's 300, but the planning and zoning, what they did was they put a condition that they'd have to sell after 5 p.m. Monday through Friday.
I was gonna say, yeah,
Yeah,
it can't be
and-
during the school
Yeah,
hours.
it's after 5, and then also the difference with them is they applied for on-premise. The reason this Mangonas applied for on-premise because TABC requires them, if they're gonna sell drinks like that, to apply for an on-premise. So people aren't actually gonna drink there, it's just for drive-through. It's for drive-through, yeah. I think what they wanted was for them to drink on site.
Was this, if I'm not mistaken, was this they were planning to have a car wash
Yes,
and they wanted to drink, right?
that's it.
That's why it was.
Yeah.
Exactly,
Mhm.
yeah. Okay, now my next question to you, they can come back and apply.
They can if they maybe change the plan or, you know,
But it's only drive-through, right? The Mangonada will be the same thing. It'll be
if they
drive-through.
apply for something for on-premise, yeah. What TBC requires is if it's by a school, they have to pay a $10,000 bond. It's normally 5,000, and then they have to send letters within a 300-foot radius. TBC requires them to do that. Yeah, with them, that's separate, yeah. So they have to pay more.
You wanna say something, sir, or you can come to the podium? You can come to the podium and state your name for the record, please.
My name is Noel Gutierrez. I'm the owner of Crazy Mangonadas. Our permits are basically so we can do similar to what Palma Azul does. So it's just to make the smoothies. We're not actually going to sell cases of beer or anything to compete with him as far as the sale of alcohol or beer. Ours are just wine permits, so it's just to be able to open the bottles, mix it into our mangonadas, and then sell it like that. And it's all going to be to go. It's going to be covered. It's going to be sealed.
Then, excuse me, but then they're gonna be drinking in.
They're not going to be
premises.
drinking.
It's like a drive-through.
TABC requires to have one table and chairs,
Yeah,
but none of our product is going to be consumed on site.
okay.
It's all going to be to go.
I guess this question is for Mr. Escobar in reference to, having the individuals who are preparing this type of drink, do they have to be licensed?
Yeah,
18?
TBC will require them to have that.
And you are gonna have someone, and you will have someone there at all times? Okay, that's all I need to know.
The recommendation came back, it was.
Yeah, planning and zoning, they approved it with that condition to sell after 5, Monday to Friday.
Any other questions?
Yes, los dueños de Yadira. Ok, usted es un drive-thru, ¿verdad? Bueno, el señor Gutiérrez también, la mongonada va a ser un drive-thru, no van a estar ahí tomando ahí tampoco. Pero le digo una cosa que sí puede aplicar usted para eso también. Ok, ya, pues es cuando estaba otra administración, pero es como le digo,
While they were washing the car, right?
sí, yo le digo que
I was here.
aplique para eso, pero nomás drive-thru, nomás que no pueden tomar ahí. Ok. Ok. No, ok. No, pues, no, pero sí bueno, pues que este es otro board, miss. Pero sí le digo una cosa que aplique, si él aplicó, aplique también para eso. No tiene que ver nada.
Any other questions? If not, I'm gonna go ahead and close this 16 PM. Is there a motion to approve? Is there a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Next item is hold a public hearing for conditional use permit for drive-through business and sale of alcoholic beverages for on-premise consumption at Crazy About Mangonadas located at 1110 South Stewart Road, Suite A, legally described as Lot 1, Stewart Place, Stage Number 3, subdivision is requested by Mr. Gutierrez Investments LLC.
So these are the same owners of the previous one. So this is a conditional use permit for on-premise Crazy About Mangonadas. This is located on Sam Houston Boulevard and Stewart. So it's currently an existing business. So they're applying for the same on-premise beer and wine retailers. This is a public hearing, so if there's any comments, they can do it.
That's the
at this
one
time.
across the Austin Middle School, right?
Yes.
Okay.
With that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and open this up at 17 PM, 6:17 PM. Is there anyone here for or against? For or against? Any questions for Mr. Escobar, members of the commission? And this is gonna continue, right, after 5 o'clock or whatever?
Yeah, it's the same condition that
Same
after
exact
5
thing.
p.m. Yeah.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Escobar? If not, I'll go ahead and close this at 6:18 PM. Is there a motion to approve?
Second.
It's been second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Thank you.
The next item, hold a public hearing for conditional use permit to allow a social event center celebration fiesta place at 3004 North Raul Longoria Road, legally described as Lot 9, Northgate Manor Phase 1 subdivision, as requested by Marta Cantu, Mr. Escobar.
This is also a conditional use permit. It's for an event center. It's actually existing, so they're just reapplying as part of the process per every year. So it's Celebration Fiesta Place. It's located on Raul Longoria and El Dora Road. So it's existing. It's the applicant is Marta Cantu, and it's under General Business C2. So they didn't have any conditions. It's just part of the zoning that they have to apply for the permit. Just in case there was any issues, that's the time to discuss it. So.
Said, I'm gonna go ahead and open this up at 6:19 PM. 6:19 PM. Is there anyone here for or against? For or against? Any questions for Mr. Escobar, members of the commission? If not, I'll go ahead and close this at 6:19 PM. Is there a motion approved? Is there a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
The next item, hold a public hearing for conditional use permit to allow a social event center, Josephine's Event Center at 1101 is 495 Suite G, legally described as a west 440 feet of south 495 feet of Lot 5, Lot 39, Alamo Land and Sugar Company subdivision, as requested by Yesenia Bernal.
So this is also an existing social event center, an existing plaza that's on 495 and Cesar Chavez. So they're applying to the same process, the renewal, so that's why they're here today.
Just a renew?
It's just renewal.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and open this up at 6:19 PM. 6:19 PM. Is there anyone here for or against? For or against? Any questions for Mr. Escobar, members of the commission? If not, I'll go ahead and close this at 6:20 PM. Is there a motion to approve? Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.
The next item on the discussion and possible election, preliminary and final plat approval of the ND Sonic subdivision being a 0.856 acre tract of land out of lot 21, block A, John Clausen subdivision, located approximately 650 feet west of Raul Longoria Road along the north side of State Highway 495 as requested by Meldon and Hunt Incorporated. Mr. Escobar.
Preliminary and final plat of ND Sonic subdivision. It's located at Raul Longoria and 495. It's west of the Paris Bakery. The applicant is Meldon and Hunt. Just a one lot, commercial lot. City staff, the city engineer did review it. There's gonna be an 8-inch water line extended and also an 8-inch sewer line at the location. Sidewalks, they'd have to go to TxDOT to get those permits, so they're working on that. There's already 2 existing fire hydrants in that location, but one will be added on the west side of the property. They've also dedicated the 15-foot utility easements around the property. They're also gonna have on-site detention, but they're also gonna expand the drainage canal to the west, so they'll have adequate drainage. This is considered general business C2, so once this goes through the plat process and it gets recorded, then they can go to the building permit stage. And the city's excited for this project, so it's gonna be good for the city.
Any questions for Mr. Escobar?
The engineer's here if you guys have any questions or.
I see that it was a 4-0, right?
Yes.
Unanimous. Okay. Any questions? If not, is there a motion to approve?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Next item, preliminary and final plat approval of the shops at Chavez, lot 1 being a 1.476 acre tract of land out of lot 5, block 24, Alamo Land and Sugar Company subdivision, located at the northeast corner of Cesar Chavez and IH2 as requested by Half and Associates Incorporated.
So this is the property, it's west of the El Tigre Food Mart. The applicant is Half an Associate, it's a one commercial lot. City engineer, city staff did review. They're gonna extend an 8-inch sewer line that's there, an 8-inch water line as well. The sidewalks, they're gonna install at the building permit stage so that they'd have to go to TxDOT for their sidewalks. There's existing fire hydrants and also an FTC connection that's approved. Fire department did review that. They've also dedicated their easement to 15-foot around the property. They're gonna have on-site detention, so it's a kind of a regional project, but for this, they're gonna have their detention that's gonna sit at the front, right on the frontage road, so they'll have that detention already. There's a plat note for addressing the shared access, because there's gonna be a few accesses, so they're gonna share that access. And this is part of the expressway corridor district, so they'll have to meet the certain requirements that the expressway corridor has. So this is gonna be a plaza that's coming to the city, so it's gonna be a great project for the city.
So the detention area is gonna be up in the front,
It's gonna be up in the front.
and then I guess the building or whatever.
Yeah, it'll
be
be
towards the back end of it. And what about TxDOT? I mean, have they already been
Yeah,
contacted?
Yeah, they're
And
gonna
everything's
get
been pretty-
permits through them, yeah. They'd have to meet those requirements.
Okay. All right, any questions for Mr. Escobar? If not, is there a motion to approve? Is there a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next item, discussion for possible action toward re-advertise bid number 19-12-03-04, San Juan Water Plant number 1, equipment replacement. Mr. Salinas.
Good evening, Mayor Commissioners.
Good evening, sir.
As you recall, last year we went out for bids on this project, and we opened up bids about 3 months ago, and we're bringing this to you today because of the COVID-19. Most projects were put on hold. This project did exceed the timeline that we were allowed to hold. I do have some letters from the vendor, the lowest bidder, that he is holding his numbers here to the numbers that he provided on his bid. Fortunately, this project is about $300,000 over the budget amount that we have on here, so I didn't bring it to commission. We have a couple options. We can award the budget and take the remaining funds out of the retained earnings, or we can go out for bid again and see if we get a much better price. With the oil prices coming down, we might get some of the stuff, some of the equipment that was being purchased at a much lower price. The vendor did contact
his suppliers, and they're still sticking to their prices. So there's no guarantee that if we do advertise again, go out back for bid, that the numbers come lower than what they are. But those are the two options that we have to either award, knowing that is roughly $300,000, actually it's $325,000 over budget at the lowest bid, and that's with the alternate bid on there. Now, we can also remove the alternate bid, and that reduces the amount by $74,000. My recommendation would be to award it without the base bid, without the alternate bid, and do that at a later time. And we will work with the engineer and the vendor to try to value engineer some of the stuff out of there and see if we can lower the prices as low as we can get it. Without the base bid in it, without the alternate bid in the project is $473,000, and it's $277,000 above budget.
Questions for Mr. Salinas? Mr. Arjona, what's your input on this?
Mr. Salinas and I spoke about this,
Okay.
and we talked about maybe just taking out the alternate bid. Obviously, it's gonna be 270.
$277,000 above.
Liking for these upgrades as per se, but my recommendation on these mayor commissioners is to actually go ahead and continue with it as planned, only because of the fact that it's not in very bad shape, but it's in dire need of replacing and upgrading to bringing it up to par. Now, do we hold off on the 70-some odd thousand? It's only 76,000. The amount of money that between 76 and the other is minimal. Now we can do a couple of things. Maybe we can come back, and depending on how long this is going to take.
It's roughly 240 calendar days,
240. That'll give you 6 months.
more or less.
So maybe what we can do is budget for next fiscal year, and continue with that. Come up with those monies for next fiscal year instead of hitting the retained earnings right immediately. But it is one of those things that do we bid it out again? And what are the odds that it's going to be maybe higher or maybe lower? We really don't know. Prices are going up instead of going down. Yes,
Yeah.
so our recommendation is to go ahead and approve, but to look at the budget with Mr. Gonzalez and maybe bring it back before the next fiscal to complete with the monies.
And this is to approve, but without the alternative bid.
Yes, without the
Right.
alternate bid. Another option is with the conditional to our financial advisor also review the numbers to make sure that it's not gonna throw off our debt capacity for the other current projects that we already have committed to. So to review it based on that condition, and if the numbers look good, then we move forward from there, and if they don't, then we'll discuss it and see about bringing it back to you all for consideration.
Okay, so you wanna maybe go back and have the financial advisor.
Approve it with the condition to have them review it, just to make sure that our debt service isn't affected by money that we have to pull out of the debt, out of the retained earnings. Yes, and if it does affect it adversely, then we don't move on with the project.
That being said, I guess, make a motion to approve without the alternative bid.
Yeah, and we'll visit with with Mr. Chris Vela.
Yeah. With those.
Right,
okay.
those conditions, and if
Okay.
he says that it's not gonna affect us, then we'll go ahead and proceed. If not, we'll go back on that.
Okay, with that being said, that's in a motion. It's been seconded by Commissioner Villegas. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Madam Mayor,
Thank you.
Commissioner, discussion and possible action regarding the appointment of an attorney to represent the city on civil service matters.
All right,
Yeah, the last time that, I don't know when was the last time that we actually brought in, the, current civil service attorney to the city, but I feel that maybe it's time maybe to look at, possible of different attorneys, only because of the, I wanna say this, maybe because of the fees that we're getting charged, Mayor.
Like, I'm assuming, I don't know, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but, you know, every time, I guess, you call him or he calls you, he bills us? And he doesn't like, you know, tell you, you know what, I'm not gonna bill you. He,
Pretty much the second that we pick up the phone, that's the second that they start billing us.
oh, okay, yeah, that's not good. I mean, I guess that's routine or standard for some attorneys, because I know Mr. Palacios, I know you guys always give him a call, and I know he doesn't. Yeah, they don't bill phone calls, so that's the beauty of that firm. So, okay, so I guess with that being said, do you have any questions before I even take it up for a motion? Any questions? With that being said, I'll just go ahead and, make a motion that we have Palacios, Thompson, and Garza handle this matter. It's been seconded by Commissioner Guajardo. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Thank you, sir.
The next item, consider awarding the RFP number 19-16-05-15, which is a rescue boat for the water rescue, dive, special operations, and firefighting. Chief?
Mayor, Commissioners,
Good evening, sir.
we went out for bids on, April 26th. I think, went out, published it 2 weeks in a row in the Advance newspaper. These funds, are from the border zone grant that we got awarded back in, April. It was in April, I think it was, for 119,000. All this money, it's 100%, no match or anything like that. We already ordered a couple of pieces of equipment. They haven't arrived yet, but this is the last one that we have to go out for bids due to the price. We went with the highest bidder. There was a difference of $1,917. And the reason we did was that the highest bidder's given a longer warranty on the boat than the other company. So with that said, the final, the price that came in was $45,807 with 50 cents, and the other one was $43,890. So we decided to go, or I'm recommending to go that route due to the warranty on the boat itself.
45,000.
Correct, yes, sir.
807.50.
Correct, yes, sir.
5 years extension, right?
Yes, sir.
Especially on the boat and the warranty.
Excuse me?
Especially on the boat, it's gonna be needed.
Yes, correct. Everything else, like the consoles, the motor and everything, those have separate warranties, but this is the hull itself from the boat.
Any questions for Chief Garza? If not, is there a motion to approve? In second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion
I want
carries.
to thank you, appreciate it, and we are looking at a delivery date of July 31st.
July what, Chief?
July 31st.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The next item, Mayor Commissioners, discussion and possible action to authorize city manager to enter into an agreement with the Hidalgo County Community Service Block Grant for water to provide direct credit assistance to low-income households. As you know, the pandemic has hit a lot of people very hard, so this is just a service to some of the low-income households here within the city. However, there's this agreement that has to be signed between the city and the county so that they can proceed and reach out to these people with low income. So it's not from the city, but it's from the county CDBG.
Okay. Now, my question to you, Mr. Arjona, is how do we get this information out to the citizens that pertain to this matter?
We're going to blast it on the social media and our webpage
Uh-huh.
that this funding is going to be available via the Hidalgo County CDBG offices.
Which are located,
I'm assuming the one in Edinburgh.
yeah, just,
Yes.
I'm just saying, just
Yes.
make sure that all that
Yeah,
information's on
All
there.
that will be posted,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, good. Any questions for Mr. Arjona?
One question.
Go ahead, sir.
And Mr. Arjona, this is available to, regardless of the provider, correct? Whether it's North Alamo, whether it's City of San Juan, whether it's,
Regardless of the provider, this is low income though,
Okay.
just for the city of San Juan.
Thank you.
whether it's San Juan Water or North Alamo, it doesn't matter.
With that being said, is there a motion to approve?
moved.
Is there a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Under contractuals, is Mr. Cancino logged on? See, he is. Okay, the next item is consider authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract agreement for architecture services for the construction of the new City Hall Transit Terminal Building. As you recall, at the last meeting, we went out for, a couple of meetings ago, we went to offer bids on, or request for qualification on architecture services. It was advertised on the newspaper twice. It was on April the 15th and the 22nd. There was about maybe 10 people 10 firms that submitted their qualifications. Mr. Cancino, who's on the line, he ranked them accordingly. And there's some specs there, not specs, but the tabulation is there for you. He recommended the top 3, and he ranked them in that particular order. So the recommendation came in at the ERO Architects, Able City, and Negrete and Kolar as 1, 2, and 3. That's his recommendation. Should you have any questions, he's here with us. Should you like to ask him any questions as far as the ranking that took place? Now, some of this ranking was, did they have experience in building a city hall? Did they have experience on the federal side with the FTAs? And that's what he was able to rank accordingly with the tabulation that he provided to us. And he went on a point system basis. So.
Where's he at? You gonna get him on the line or?
There, Mr. Cancino. Yes, can you hear us?
Yes. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Mr. Cancino,
Yes, sir.
this is Mayor Mario Garza real quick. First of all, good evening, sir. I have a couple questions in regard to, in the process. Can you explain to myself and obviously the commission and the citizens out there as far as how did you base your rankings? What type of formula did you use? Just,
The rankings was.
yeah,
based
just in
on
a
the-
nutshell. I mean,
Can you hear me? Okay. The rankings were first based off, first and foremost, the qualifications. The things that we had to do was make sure that the potential architect can engage with the city through third-party contracting. Of course, this is to meet the federal guidelines. So one of the things we did is we issued an addenda acknowledgement so that they could sign off that they would be able to adhere to those federal standards. So that was the first check off. Then actually going through the independent RFQs that were submitted, which were 10, there was other qualified firms, but the first knockout for them was they did not acknowledge the addenda. And then moving on, then it was to the actual point system, which was qualifications, 40 points, firm experience, 20 points, available resource, again, 20 points, and professional reference, 10 points. So the way these were graded, it was completely based off a objective criteria versus each of those architects. So as we look at, for example, had they done transit projects before, that was noted. All 3 that are being recommended, and including a 4th that was disqualified, had a lot of multiple transit projects. So in the scoring, the higher grading was given to the one that best reflected that qualification or that experience in comparison to the others. So what you're doing basically is grading them against themselves. So that way it's more objective than anything. So as it gets reviewed through our funding agency, they can actually see that it's a systematic approach and it's a qualitative approach. So, and that information, moving on to firm experience, available resources. For example, we looked at how many engineers, or structural engineers or architects that they had on board available for the projects. The ones that were recommending seem to have more of this on staff. I know it's important for us to get this project going. So of course, having the availability to meet that workload is what helps, and the firms being presented certainly have the experience and resources and again, also the qualifications. And then, of course, moving on finally to the responsiveness, it was their project approach, some ideas that they may have that could have included in there that finalized the points along with the professional references. So as they were graded and presented, these firms also had quite a bit of references that was looked at and favorable on their projects that are similar to what we're looking for here, which is a new municipal building that will consist of City Hall, potential for, of course, the EDC, EOC, and also a transit component. Now, in the RFQs, there were some architects that did include a rendering, which was very good to see. It showed that they're responsive. They know the project. They've done this before. They have some ideas already coming into it, which is great. And this will certainly help us in the evaluation, of course, and the recommendation to get this approved. Once we get through this step, is get it formalized by and finalized by FTA. So we have right now the approval from FTA for the city to move forward on the selection based on what they approved for us. So the selection criteria and RFQ criteria that we used was confirmed with them, and they acknowledged what we provided and submitted to the architects.
Okay. All right. I guess my next question is that, I mean, obviously, since this is federal monies that we're going to be using as well, did you look into see if any of these firms are pending any type of litigations against them?
Yes, there is a statement, and we looked at that, and none of these firms have an ongoing a statement in there disclosing any potential litigation matters. I understand at times there may be some small claim that is sometimes disclosed. In reviewing this, there was nothing that I saw that would do that, and inclusive. Some of these actually went ahead and added some additional language in their proposals that they could provide their services to FTA standards. So that was another little add-in that they actually put in their proposal, making that statement that they could comply.
Okay, good. I guess this is more of like a comment. I guess as soon as the commission decides and go with whichever firm, I just like to make sure that all our directors, our city manager, are involved during this whole process. Sitting down with the architect, with yourself as a project manager, Mr. Arjona. I think this is very important that our directors are going to have some kind of input in the designing of this building. So that's all I ask in reference to this matter. But I'm
sure we could include a steering committee that'll be comprised of those folks. And once we get to that point, we can certainly then sit down. I know it'll be very critical to laying out the requirements on the facility side. I think that's going to be very important, Mayor, to have those individuals involved to be able to at least get a preliminary. And then as we move on, we involve more of the either community and you all to be able to look at it and make sure it's getting steered in the right direction.
perfect.
Certainly.
Okay. I guess, Mr. Cancino, those are the only questions I have and the only comment I have. I don't know if anybody else from the commission has any questions for Mr. Cancino.
I only have one question, Mayor.
Go ahead, Mayor.
Since we're dealing with federal funds, are these architects, are they committed or are they supposed to be certified through SAMS? Mr. Cancino, can you hear me?
It did cut off a little bit, Commissioner. Just if you could repeat it.
Yes, Ms. Lenny. Since we're dealing with federal funds, are the architects supposed to be registered or qualified through SAMS?
On the SAMS.gov, if the third party requires it, which we listed on there, they do require that they be DBE.
Okay.
That was one of them. And then on the SAMS.gov, since we're receiving some federal funds on our end, that was one of the things that they have on there And there is a listing, which is, we made it available to them through that amended, with addenda, which is the contract provisions, which is the Buy America, the Civil Rights Department. And that department is the one that covers that SAMS.gov. There's one in there for that.
You'll be looking at, make sure that this is covered, correct?
Oh, yes, definitely.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Any other questions for Mr. Cancino? All right, Mr. Cancino, thank you so much for your time, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, well, with that being said, I mean, obviously, gentlemen, we saw the rankings, and that was one of my major concerns, is that making sure that two things is that they are qualified to handle the federal funds that we will be receiving. What's that? About a total of how much? 1.9 or?
It's actually 1.9.
1.9?
Yeah.
Okay. And the next one is just making sure that, you know, there's no litigation against these individual firms. So does anybody want to make a comment or anything before we take it up for a vote?
If I may, I have
Go
some
ahead,
questions for Mr. Arjona.
Go ahead, sir.
Mr. Arjona, what is the total cost of this project, do you know?
Total cost of the project is gonna be roughly about maybe between 6 to 8 million.
8 million.
Yes, sir.
And is this the largest project that we've had so far, as far as the cost? No, the water tower? It's around the same.
Actually, it was at the end, it was more than that.
At the end?
Yeah.
Because
And then
of
we have
the,
the other one, the water plant. How much is that gonna be? 9.3, 9.3.
now, on this one, Mr. Arjona, there was no committee to review or to screen them as far as the score sheet?
That was initially, if you remember, we hired the project manager to do that. So us, the directors, myself, we're not gonna get our hands into this type of decisions or anything like that. It was gonna be strictly the recommendation of the project manager, based on his expertise and knowledge about construction, city halls, the FTA, and all of that. I mean, we could have done our part as far as due diligence, as far as being on the committee, but we wanted to leave it somebody that is an expert in that field to take care of this matter.
And we've also in the past received the packets itself so that we can review, not this time. The RFQs, the packets that are submitted for review.
No, they're not here. It was only.
No, I know, that's why I'm asking, because they're not here. We didn't receive anything.
I can provide them to you all.
Well, you can provide it to us, but after the fact, because apparently the vote's gonna be done today. So, that's what I figured was gonna happen, that we would receive them prior to the meeting.
It was handled by the project manager, and that's why he did the ranking, and he submitted it. So we're actually relying on his expertise, on his recommendation coming over this way.
I had four, I mean, the
Right.
10th, and then we see the ranking.
What's that? Oh, no, yeah, no, that's why he's a project
Now,
manager.
moving
'Cause-
forward after that, and then as far as his expertise after that, then that's, like, get a committee as far as everything else, right? That's what he was discussing.
Yeah, the committee, as far as the having directed myself some input on that, I think we already spoke with the department staff already in numerous occasions as far as giving us some input as to what would they like to see in the new city hall. How many offices, how many spaces. So that's what we're working at, as a matter of fact. Actually, some of the directors already submitted their space wish list as to what they need. Not necessarily one, but what they need for City Hall. Yes. Oh, yeah, no.
No, that's why I stressed that, yeah.
And everybody's gonna be involved in that. Every departmental director will be, involved in that, in the process. Yeah. Right.
How long has he been the project manager, sir?
Sorry?
How many years has he been the project manager? Do you know?
2 years now? 2 years.
2? Thank you, sir.
questions? The only thing, Mayor, since he's the one that chose the, well, actually, he gives a list, and we're gonna pick from the top, 3 or 4, based on what he's already highlighted here, correct? Is he assuming any type of liabilities besides ourselves on this one? Okay. Oh, there you go, the top 3. So he's assuming pretty much the responsibility as far as something must go wrong as far as doing the architectural stuff on the project itself or before it starts, correct? He's totally responsible for anything that is done with its architects. Correct. That's why I want to make sure.
Only that, these guys, a project is big, I mean, obviously, you gotta be bonded for so much amount too. So that's another, going back to the expertise, we're not in the business of,
right,
you know, having that kind of, I mean, information, but that was the whole point of bringing on a project manager, because the last thing we wanted was any type of headaches or having Mr. Arjona involved in all these plans. It can get crazy, you know, at times. So that's what we did back then when we hired him. I believe
Gotcha.
it's 2 years ago, going on 2
I
years.
think I remember, Mayor,
Yeah.
he's assuming the responsibility overall, correct?
Exactly, so
Right, I remember.
nothing, if anything, nothing will fall back on the city.
Right.
But what I understood.
I can honestly say that the ones that were ranked 1, 2, and 3, these firms are not first-time hitters. These are people who have a lot of experience in building this type of structures, this type of facilities. So it is not somebody that is like, he's recommending ERO. That's a big-time firm. I believe this is the firm that is building the
Courthouse.
courthouse. That's a multi-million-dollar courthouse.
That being said, I'll just go ahead and make a motion to go with ERO.
Second.
It's been second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item, consider authorizing city manager to enter into interlocal agreement between the city of FAR and the city of San Juan for the street improvements to Alameda Street. Thanks, sir. Mr.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. Before you have an interlocal between City of FAR and City of San Juan, City of FAR is in the process of installing new traffic loops to improve the traffic signal at the intersection of Polk, Veterans, and Alameda. That will call for repaving portions of the above-mentioned streets. This will benefit both cities. City of FAR will pay all expenses and furnish all materials, labor, and equipment for the project.
100 feet in?
100 feet in, yes, sir, into Alameda Street.
So if you're going, let's say you turn right on Alameda and you're going east, is it gonna pass the entrance of the HEB?
No, sir. It's gonna go 100 feet, and so it'll put you almost to the north side entrance of Walgreens.
Oh, it won't go that far?
No.
But I get what you're saying, Mayor. I know that piece of.
Because that does
it's
get bad
in
during
real
rainy
bad shape.
season.
So what we can do, I know we talked about this already, Mr. Garza and I, about maybe having the city of FAR giving us a price quote as to how much more would it cost us to go past that area, all the way to the, I guess, to the other side of the entrance.
Garza,
It's very
I
minimal.
think because it does get, I mean, you know, every season, rainy season, it does get bad in that area when you're coming out.
Yes, sir.
Alameda,
Mhm.
just in that little area.
And
Everything else further east is
looks
good.
Good.
Yeah.
Up to that point.
Exactly.
South side entrance.
Exactly.
I can get with the city engineer from FAR and get, matter of fact, we already have a cost estimate for it.
So right now, I guess if we do decide to just approve that and then later
Come
we'll
back with,
onto the,
Come back under the.
hopefully by our next meeting, you think you'll have it?
we can come up with another
As a matter of fact,
mutual
we have a
agreement.
cost estimate already.
Oh, you
It's
do?
about less than 10,000.
Yes, sir.
This is just material, testing, caliche, asphalt, turnkey.
That part of the amendment or what? To add?
Right now, it just calls for 100 feet.
Okay, then let's just, okay. Any questions for Mr. Garza? No, not. Is there a motion approved?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries, and this is for 100 feet, right? Yes, sir. Okay, thank you.
Next item, we have consent agenda. Tonight we have A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. Notice that you guys can pull out any item. Should you like to discuss it further to make an adequate decision on those?
At this time, is there anything we need to amend or modify under consent agenda? Amend or modify? If not, is there a motion to approve? Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
The next item of the executive session, the Juan City Commission will convene executive session according with the Texas Open Meetings Act, vendors, Texas statutes, and codes annotated government code chapter 551.071 and 551.074. Tonight we have personal matters to discuss the appointment, employment, evaluation, duties, discipline, dismissal of a public officer or employee, municipal judge, Marlo de Luna.
Time, is there a motion to go into executive session? Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We will be going in at 6:55 PM. We're back from executive session at 7:11 PM. Is there a motion to reconvene?
So moved.
Is there a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Under executive session, one, I'll go ahead and just make the motion. Before I do that, just like to put on the record that we will take up a vote for a fourth municipal judge, Marlo de Luna, and at this time, I'd just like to state that Mr. de Luna will be volunteering his services here at the city of San Juan. This will be a non-paid position, just for the record. It's a voluntary position. With that being said, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
This meeting has been adjourned at 7:12 PM. Thank you.